Okay, welcome to the second episode of SDRs on Mars. I'm here with Ife, and Ife, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, we want to focus a little more on the SDR community around Ottawa a little bit. I mean, you're kind of close by, but you're outside, but I want to know a little bit about you. So give me the intro.
Well, okay, so like you said, my name's Ife. I was born in Nigeria, spent time in the US, and now I'm in Canada. So I've had a bit of a mix of different cultures and just different environments. And that I find has really helped in sales, just because I've gotten to, be around different people. And so you kind of can relate in the different rooms you step into. But yeah, that's kind of like a real background. I graduated from the University of Waterloo. Surprisingly, I actually studied geography and environmental management, far off from business and sales. But I guess it was just meant to be in some ways, because I didn't even realize how much I would enjoy sales until I got a job at the call center on campus, and that kind of changed everything for me. Did pretty well there. I raised over 50,000 for the university, and that kind of really helped with my resume. After I graduated, I got hired at Bridget, where I'm at right now, and I got into Bridget with in the BDR position. So yeah, that was how I initially. That's kind of like a short, quick summary of my sales journey up until this point. Right now, I've transitioned to a special projects role with Bridget as well. So that's more on the admin side, but obviously I still have that big sales background. So I'm all a little in the mix, kind of like my life, different environments, same thing in my career, different backgrounds. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the way it goes a little bit. Like, you kind of just change it up, you change the food, and that's how you get
Yeah,
experience with all the things, right? So that's
exactly.
pretty cool. So tell me a little bit about like the call center. When you went to go work at a call center, what did you think about sales before you started sales?
Okay, so now I gotta add one little step that came just before the call center. So like I said, I moved here. This was probably maybe in 2012. It was when I moved here, and by the time I got to Waterloo, at some point I was going through some financial issues, and I really needed to get work. Um, and I remember seeing a post on I think it must have been Indeed, about, it was very vague, mind you, very vague. But it turned out to be a door-to-door sales job. So I did that for a month, and
That's a grind.
even yes, absolute grind. And I don't know if I was fully prepared for what I was walking into at the time. But what I realized in retrospect was that was a rough but perfect foundation, because starting in sales, I guess, from literally going door to door, knocking on people and they're not expecting you, that really prepped me for the call center, in a sense where it was like, okay, I've had people slam doors in my face. Going into this call center is not going to be as hard. Like, I've had to deal with people in person. This is going to be much easier.
Yeah.
And then I can also take some of those skills from the door-to-door sales into this. So I really went into the call center thinking, okay, this has got to be better than door-to-door sales. And obviously I'm on campus too. So I was like, okay, you know what? If I can make this work, this would be great. And like I said, going from that door to door, that was a big part for me. I was like, okay, this cannot be worse than that. So I get into the call center, and for the most part, with anything, there's a learning curve. But as soon as I got past that, I realized I was doing really well. Like, just be myself, just talking to people. And yeah, it was, outside of obviously that initial learning curve, it was a pretty good fresh start. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. But I mean, going from door to door sales where people are like legitimately closing doors in your face, like hearing no over the phone is not a big deal
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It absolutely, like, the no's don't sting as hard. They don't hurt as hard. It's just like, okay, next person. And the great part with the call center compared to door was, you had that additional walk of shame where you were going to the next house hoping it went better, right? But with the call center, we had the automated calling system. So it was like, okay, you hang up, you just say no. Cool. Next person's just going to ring up.
On
Or
to
if
the
you didn't
next
even
one.
pick up, you will get that call again soon enough. So it
Okay,
was
that
much.
makes sense. And so where are you working out of right now?
So right now I'm in Bridget. Obviously with the pandemic, and I'm working from home. but are up until the pandemic, and I was working in Kitchener, so Kitchener, Ontario.
Cool. Okay. And yeah, you went to school in Waterloo, so like you're
Waterloo,
kind
yep.
of at home in Waterloo.
Exactly. Yep, yep. It was a really great transition to get that position going from graduation. I got it maybe like 2 months in, so I didn't have too much of a break in between. It was great.
Okay, nice, nice. So give me a little bit of a rundown. Like, what does Bridget sell?
Okay, so Bridget initially, we sell construction software. Just to give you an umbrella term, but we currently have two separate actual software that we sell. So one of them is the Bridget Field, one of them is the Bridget Bench, and basically to give you a short, quick explanation of how they differ. Bridget Bench is more resource planning. So when you think on a construction site, or for rather a general contractor, you might have multiple construction sites and multiple project managers, multiple staff on each one of those construction sites. So basically, with Bridget Bench, you have a one system that automates all of that. So you have clear view. It's all cloud based, so you don't have to. It takes away, because you find a lot of general contractors still used to write a lot of things down. A lot of stuff is manually
Right.
done.
Yeah.
And then you have people in some cases who aren't going manual but have multiple spreadsheets. You have like 5 to 10 spreadsheets. You have these hours long manpower meetings trying to be able to plan all of these things. So Bridget Bench pretty much automates all of that for you, in a sense where you have one general view for everybody, and everyone kind of gets to have access. Obviously, depending on how a general contractor would want to, what's the word now? Depending on how a contractor would want to have it, like you can set it up the way you want it, but basically you just have access across the board. So instead of, for instance, in this pandemic situation, instead of us scrambling, trying to send fax or mail or anything, all of that is in there. From wherever you are, you can access that, you can make changes, and everyone sees that in real time across the board. So that is Bridget Bench. And then our other side is more specific to projects. So that's our Bridget Field. So that, where, like I said, Bridget Bench is across the board. You have multiple projects, multiple construction sites. Let's say we were just working on my apartment building, and you needed to keep track. So like your, the drywalls being done, plumbing's being done. You need to keep track on a specific project. That gives you the ability to have the same thing we said, but across the board now for a specific project. So you can look specifically on, okay, floor 10 isn't done. They make notes on floor 10. You automatically see that. You might be the project manager in the office. You can see that the person on the site is saying XYZ is going on floor 10. You see that immediately. You can make those adjustments, and you have that clear communication. So that's pretty much what our Bridget Field is. So I hope I didn't confuse you there, but it's a bit, it can be a bit technical if you don't understand construction terms, but that's
Yeah.
kind of what our pretty much what we're selling.
Okay, fair enough. And so who do you sell that to?
So specifically general contractors. Now the great part is, just like maybe 2 weeks ago, last month, we just launched a new module, so we can now do self-perform tracking as well. So that pretty much just means if you were tracking hourly, let's just say you, as a general contractor, you have all of this stuff done in-house, carpentry, all of that. We give you the ability to actually track all of that as well. So yeah, basically general contractors are our target. Yeah, I'd say general contractors.
Cool. Okay.
But we
So
are
give me
so
a
that's where
pitch.
it spreads.
Give me a pitch. I'm a
Okay.
general
Um,
contractor. Tell me what I want to know.
So let's just say I gave you a call, introduce myself. Obviously, hey, I'm Ife. I'm calling from Bridget. Confirm I'm speaking with the right person. It's a Jeremy.
Yeah, this is
Awesome,
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Great. So I'll just obviously just say, hey, I know you weren't expecting the call, but if I can get a quick few moments of your time, I just like to give you the reason why I'm calling. Let you know, okay, Bridget, we do resource planning specifically for the construction industry, and we help you combat the limitations that come with spreadsheets and pretty much just resource planning issues in general. And so I give you a quick pitch, ask pretty much, try to validate you on the call really quick. So ask how many projects you typically run in a year, how you currently do it. So just to get a sense of how you're currently managing your resources, and then I'll let you know how we can be of value to you going forward. So hypothetically, if you said you had 50, you are currently tracking 50 separate projects and you have a total of about maybe, let's say 125 trackable staff, on that call, I'd be able to ask you, okay, if you're currently using an Excel sheet, that probably means that, one cell error could possibly cost you, give or take from how you're doing, maybe it costs you a specific amount of money for one error, and kind of equate that to how within our resource planning solution, all of that is automated. So any errors will be automatically brought up to you that, hey, you have an error on this particular project. Maybe a person is being overutilized or underutilized. You get to see all of that within that project. So that's how I would kind of sell it to you on the phone and kind of get your reaction.
Okay, cool. So like what's help me role play a little bit here. What is the most common
Okay.
objection you're gonna get to that?
Okay. So with the pandemic, that has obviously changed. So initially, I'd say pre-pandemic, the biggest holdback was always price. That's always the thing. It's like, okay, well, we have the way we're currently doing it. If it's worked for us, and you find with construction, a lot of these guys have done it for 20, 30 plus years. They're really set in their ways. So they're saying, okay, in order for me to consider this, how much is that going to cost me? Like, is it worth the price? That was the biggest thing, the price objections. And usually at that point, because I was just in the BDR position, what I would say to them is, well, you know what? We will be able to discuss pricing specific to you, like I asked earlier. So I kind of refer rather back to what I said in the start of the call about how I was finding out, okay, how you currently do things. You have X amount of people on X amount of projects. And I'll say, okay, hey, look, if I could save you X amount of time based off of what you said, and possibly save you X amount of money as well based off of the possible errors, would that cover the cost of this particular solution? And most times it's like, oh, well, you know what? Let me at least hear what you have to say. Fine. I'll book the demo. Let me see what you have to say. All right,
Right.
cool. That
There
was
you go.
the biggest thing with pricing. And then soon as the pandemic hit, it was timing. Oh my God, this is just not the right time. We aren't trying to look at a solution right now. Like this would be great, but not right now. And honestly, at the start of the pandemic, you just had to empathize with people. Like you had no option. It was like, okay, I get it. Like
Yeah.
most companies are struggling to even keep the lights on and keep staff. Like it's hard enough. So usually what I do is say, okay, you know what? Initially it was really hard. So I was kind of having some difficulty, but then after the maybe 2-3 months of the pandemic and things were kind of starting to settle a little, I started handling those objections by saying, okay, you know what? Further down, if I could either set up a demo with you right now or further down the line, before that, I'd first say, what's your level of interest right now? So outside of the pandemic, what is your level of interest? Based off of our conversation up until this point, what is your level of interest? Do you feel like it would be worth, kind of like I said with the other objection, would you feel like it'd be worth seeing this software if we could possibly save you X amount of time and X amount of money? More times than not, people say yes, because everybody wants to save time and money. And so I'll say, okay, you know what? If you feel like you would want that, how soon can we plan a particular demo? So can we plan a demo right now? No, you don't have to make any immediate decisions right now, but let's at least keep that conversation going, and let's see where things can go. Do you want to have that demo right now, or do you want to have it a little further down the line? So basically my approach was always to keep them in the pipeline where,
Right.
let me gauge the interest. If
Okay.
there
So
is
they're
some interest here, I'm going to keep you in the pipeline. Let's
coming in
try to
and saying it's a timing thing, and you're saying, okay, how do we work with time?
exactly. Like, okay, if you have some interest right here, you know what? Let's work with time. If you don't have any interest, I'm not going to force it. I get it. It's a pandemic. People are trying to deal with things. But if you do feel like we can help you out, let's set a time up. That was
Okay.
my typical approach.
I like it. Cool. Awesome. So, I mean, you've now done door-to-door sales. You've done some call center stuff. You've crushed a BDR rollout for a little while. You're doing some special project stuff right now, still for
Yeah.
sales. So it's a lot of different sales experiences. Why do you like sales?
Why do I like sales? Great question. I think it was one of those loves that I discovered as I was growing. So it kind of, I guess it, how do I explain it? It's kind of like one of those things where it was like, I didn't know it was there. I didn't know I had a passion for it till everything started connecting. And then I'm like, okay, that initial imposter syndrome, like, am I actually good at this? Like, is this what I should be doing? Like, am I just getting lucky right now? And then eventually realizing, oh, I'm really good at this. And in that moment, I fell in love with it because it felt like my, for lack of a better word, my saving grace. It was like, okay, I had so much confusion about what I was going to do, and how I was going to approach things. Like I said, I finished with geography and environmental management. So I'm applying to a bunch of jobs in that field, in different areas in that field, and I'm not getting anything. And my sales experience, that I was literally just doing sales to feed myself and keep the bills paid, kept taking me through all of these steps. It was just getting me through. And I'm like, okay, look, dude, I don't know if I've been ignoring this whole time, but yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
this is my ticket. So yeah, it was one of those ones where like I didn't see it coming, didn't expect it, but life just kind of pulled me in that direction, and I've fallen in love with it. It's been working out, and it's brought me to this point, and I'm so thankful for sales, seriously, because like I said, I spent a lot of money going to university, and I haven't gotten half as much return on that as I've gotten from sales. So it's definitely become a big love for me.
That's like, I feel like you just said so many things that I love.
I kind of felt like I was rambling a little. I can kind of just go from bit to bit, but I was trying to keep it concise.
Nice. Okay, cool. So I'll stop grilling you for a second here and try and take the pressure off. When you start your day, what do? You drink tea? Do you drink coffee? Do you drink water? How does it work?
Typical day for me: tea, green tea,
Green
green.
tea?
Yeah, that's my mom. We got to thank my mom for that. My mom.
Okay, nice, nice.
That would be my mom. My mom absolutely. From when I was younger, she was just big on green tea, green tea. So now I get green tea. Start my day. Some days I'll do coffee just if I really am bummed out,
Yeah.
but more times than not, I'm a tea person all
Okay.
day.
Still get some caffeine with the green tea.
Yeah,
I like it.
exactly.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So after like a long day of getting doors slammed in your face and door to door sales or whatever have you, how do you figure out how to like unwind a little bit?
Okay, so I won, depending on how the day goes, and that definitely depends on how that particular day went. But for the most part, on a typical day, I got to take a nap after. Like it is paramount. I'd be so grumpy for the rest of the day if I can get 30 minutes in, maybe an hour, great. Sometimes it just is terrible where I'll sleep 4 or 5 hours and I'm like, oh shoot, that was not supposed to
Yeah,
happen.
that's
But
not a
I
nap
need,
anymore.
yeah, exactly. Like that's actual sleep. But I need to be able to take a nap after a work day. And then after that, maybe get some wine, cool out, relax. I love music, so I listen to some music, play some video games. I just got the PS5 recently. That was a hassle to get.
Oh, you
Um,
did.
yeah, that was a hassle. But yeah, typically after that nap, that's when I really just enjoy myself. But I need to take that nap because if I try to do, I've realized doing anything after that, especially like if I don't take the time to rest and just cool my head, oh my days, I'm grumpy. I just can't focus after that. So yeah, nap for me, paramount.
That makes sense. I don't nap enough. You've sold me on naps.
Yeah, dude, trust me, everything's better after a nap. I sound
Awesome.
so old. I sound so old saying that, but trust me. Trust me.
Nice, nice. Okay, so like, what's on your docket this summer? What are you up to?
Okay, this summer, man. I am trying to see. I don't have concrete plans at this point, just because of the way things are going. I got to get vaccinated first,
Yeah.
because I would love to travel. I'll go see my parents because my parents are in Nigeria right now. So I definitely have travel plans, but I haven't made them, if that makes sense. Because I'm literally counting on getting the vaccine and knowing, okay, I can travel, but also like these restrictions are constantly changing. So I'm even scared to put plans in motion at this point. So I'm kind of winging it right now. But I
Yeah.
would say the moment I can get that vaccine and things kind of like open up a little, I'm flying home. I got to
Yeah.
go see my
Fair enough.
parents.
it's hard to like predict anything at this point. Like we
Exactly.
basically booked stuff within Ontario. Like I don't even know if we can leave the province
You know what I'm saying?
really.
It is. It's yesterday or 2 days ago was a lockdown. Today it's a stay home order. It's just it keeps going. So
Yeah, yeah, right.
you
Okay,
know, so
cool.
yeah, I'd say for the summer right now, I'm definitely travel plans pending the pandemic, pending the pandemic.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I like it. Cool. Well, I think that's mostly what I had to go through for you with today, Ife.
Awesome,
Is there anything
awesome.
else that you wanted to throw in there?
Um, you see, I feel like I already threw a pretty solid one with the Nat one.
Yeah, you did. You did good. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. I don't know if I should show my age even more. Not that I'm that old, but no, I think I'm all good. Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.